Do you ever feel like you're living on autopilot, constantly rushing through your days without a sense of purpose or fulfillment? Maybe you've tried various self-help techniques or mindfulness practices, but still find yourself feeling stuck in the same old routine. If this sounds familiar, it's time to consider incorporating minimalism and intentional living into your life. By simplifying your possessions and focusing on what truly matters to you, you can create a more intentional and fulfilling lifestyle. But where do you start? In this video, I'll share tips for embracing minimalism and intentional living, from decluttering your physical space to aligning your actions with your values. You'll learn how to start small and gradually integrate these principles into your daily routine, creating habits and routines that support your goals. And to make sure you don't get tripped up along the way, I'll also reveal the common mistakes to avoid when embarking on a minimalist or intentional lifestyle. So, are you ready to transform your life and discover a more intentional way of living? Watch the entire video for my expert advice on how to get started. Today, we're going to talk about minimalism, intentional living, and why simplifying your life is becoming increasingly important. To begin with, minimalism is a lifestyle that focuses on owning only the essentials and getting rid of everything else that doesn't serve a purpose. It's a way of life that allows you to declutter your space, free up your mind, and focus on what truly matters. Intentional living, on the other hand, is about being mindful of your choices and living your life with purpose. It's about aligning your actions with your values and making conscious decisions that bring you closer to your goals. In today's world, where we're constantly bombarded with distractions and options, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. But as we're seeing, more and more people are realizing the importance of simplifying their lives and being intentional about their choices. We're realizing that owning more things doesn't necessarily make us happier, and that true fulfillment comes from living a life that aligns with our values. When we combine minimalism and intentional living, we create a powerful tool for simplifying our lives and achieving our goals. By focusing on the essentials and eliminating distractions, we can free up our time and energy to pursue our passions and live a more fulfilling life. We can also reduce our environmental impact by consuming less and living more sustainably. In the next section, let's dive deeper into how these two concepts complement each other and how they can work together to create a more intentional and fulfilling life. First off, minimalism can support intentional living by creating physical and mental space for what truly matters. By eliminating the excess and only keeping what's essential, we free up our physical space and reduce visual clutter. This in turn helps us clear our minds and focus on what's important. Additionally, minimalism can help us practice mindfulness and intentionality in our consumption habits, such as choosing to buy high-quality, long-lasting items rather than cheap, disposable ones. On the other hand, intentional living can also support minimalism by helping us align our actions with our values. By identifying our priorities and values, we can make conscious decisions about what we want to keep in our lives and what we can let go of. This can help us simplify our lives and reduce distractions, allowing us to focus on what truly matters to us. For instance, intentional living can help us avoid the trap of consumerism and the pressure to constantly acquire more things. By aligning our actions with our values, we can make intentional choices about our purchases, avoiding impulse buys and unnecessary clutter. In turn, this supports our minimalist lifestyle and helps us stay true to our values. Thank you for staying until this part of the video. In the next part, we're going to talk about the differences between minimalism and intentional living, and how these two approaches can be used together to create a more fulfilling life. Minimalism is not just a passing trend, but a movement that has taken the world by storm, inspiring people from all walks of life to adopt a simpler, more intentional way of living. At its core, minimalism is about shedding the excess and embracing the essential. By reducing the number of physical possessions in our lives, we can free ourselves from the burden of materialism and cultivate a sense of clarity and purpose. Minimalism is not about deprivation, but rather it's about living with intention and mindfulness. It's about making conscious choices when it comes to the things we own and consume, so that we can lead a more meaningful and fulfilling life. By eliminating the clutter and distractions in our living spaces, we can create a sense of calm and serenity that allows us to focus on what truly matters. But minimalism is not just about our physical environment. It's also about our mindset and approach to life. By adopting a minimalist mindset, we can learn to let go of our attachment to material possessions and focus on the things that bring us true happiness and fulfillment. This means being mindful of our spending habits and only purchasing things that align with our values and goals. In a world that's constantly pushing us to consume more and more, minimalism offers a refreshing alternative. It's a way of life that encourages us to slow down, simplify, and appreciate the beauty in the everyday. By embracing minimalism, we can create a life that's not just simpler, but more meaningful and fulfilling as well. Living intentionally, on the other hand, is a powerful way to bring more meaning and fulfillment into our lives. It's about more than just decluttering our homes or reducing our material possessions. It's about taking a step back and examining what really matters to us, and then aligning our actions with those values. Intentional living is an approach that encourages us to live with purpose and mindfulness in all areas of our lives. This includes our relationships with others, our careers and hobbies, and the way we spend our time and resources. By intentionally aligning our actions with our values, we can create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. Living intentionally can help us find greater clarity and focus in our lives. It can also help us make more conscious choices about how we spend our time and energy. For example, if we value our relationships with loved ones, we may prioritize spending more quality time with them instead of getting caught up in busy work schedules or mindless scrolling on social media. Intentional living can also help us reduce stress and anxiety by simplifying our lives and creating more space for the things that truly matter to us. By letting go of possessions, commitments, or relationships that no longer serve us, we can create more room for the things that bring us joy and fulfillment. Minimalism and intentional living are two lifestyles that have gained increasing popularity in recent years. Although they may seem like opposing concepts at first glance, they can actually work together harmoniously to enhance our lives and increase our overall sense of fulfillment. When we combine these two approaches, we can experience even greater benefits. Minimalism can support intentional living by clearing away the physical clutter and distractions that can make it difficult to stay focused on our goals and values. By simplifying our possessions and surroundings, we can create a sense of calm and order that makes it easier to concentrate on what truly matters. In turn, intentional living can support minimalism by helping us to make conscious choices about what we bring into our lives. When we have a clear understanding of our values and goals, we can be more discerning about the things we allow into our homes and our daily routines. This can help us to avoid accumulating unnecessary possessions and prioritize the things that truly add value to our lives. By combining minimalism and intentional living, we can create a life that feels more intentional, fulfilling, and authentic. We can simplify our lives, reduce stress, and cultivate a sense of purpose and meaning. Whether we're looking to make a big change or just seeking to live more intentionally day by day, these two approaches can provide us with a powerful framework for creating a life that truly resonates with us. So, how do you decide which approach is right for you? It ultimately comes down to your personal goals and values. If you're feeling overwhelmed by physical clutter and want to simplify your possessions, minimalism may be the right approach for you. On the other hand, if you're looking to live a more purposeful and intentional life across all areas, intentional living may be a better fit. Regardless of which approach you choose, it's important to keep in mind that both minimalism and intentional living are ongoing journeys rather than a one-time destination. You can always reevaluate and adjust your approach as your goals and values evolve over time. In this section, I'm going to share some tips on how to incorporate minimalism and intentional living into your life. First and foremost, it's important to remember that minimalism and intentional living are ongoing journeys, not a one-time destination. It takes time and effort to build new habits and create a more intentional lifestyle. Here are some tips to help you get started. Start with small steps. It's easy to get overwhelmed when trying to make big changes all at once. Instead, start with small changes that feel manageable. This could be as simple as decluttering one drawer or committing to a daily meditation practice. Declutter your physical space. One of the foundational principles of minimalism is to reduce physical possessions. This doesn't mean you have to get rid of everything you own, but it does mean being intentional about what you keep in your space. Start by identifying items that don't serve a purpose or bring you joy and donate or sell them. Reflect on your values. Intentional living is all about aligning your actions with your values. Take some time to reflect on what matters most to you and identify areas of your life where you could be more intentional. Be mindful of your consumption. Mindful consumption is an important part of both minimalism and intentional living. Before making a purchase, ask yourself if it aligns with your values and if you truly need or want it. Create routines and habits that support your goals. Habits are powerful tools for creating lasting change. Identify habits that support your minimalism and intentional living goals. such as a daily decluttering routine or a regular meditation practice. While incorporating minimalism and intentional living into your life can be rewarding, there are also some common mistakes to avoid. Here are a few to keep in mind. Trying to do too much too soon. It's important to remember that minimalism and intentional living are ongoing journeys. Trying to make too many changes at once can be overwhelming and lead to burnout. Focusing too much on the external. While decluttering and simplifying your physical space can be a great place to start, it's important to also focus on the internal. Intentional living is about aligning your actions with your values and living with purpose, comparing yourself to others. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of a perfect minimalist or intentional lifestyle. However, everyone's journey is unique. Focus on your own goals and values, and don't worry about comparing yourself to others. While avoiding these common mistakes should help you, it is equally important to also learn about the common challenges in incorporating both minimalism and intentional living in your life. Here are a few examples. Letting go of items that represent an idealized version of yourself. We often hold on to possessions that represent the person we want to be, rather than who we actually are, making it difficult to let go of items that no longer serve us. Finding balance between minimalism and practicality. While minimalism encourages simplicity and a clutter-free lifestyle, it's important to balance this with practicality and ensure you have what you need to live comfortably. Overcoming the fear of missing out. Fear of missing out can be a major obstacle to minimalism, as people worry they might miss out on something if they don't have the latest gadget or fashion item. Balancing minimalism with sustainability. Minimalism and intentional living often go hand in hand with sustainability, but it can be challenging to balance the desire to minimize consumption with the need to purchase eco-friendly and sustainable products. Staying motivated and committed to the minimalist lifestyle. Finally, staying motivated and committed to the minimalist lifestyle can be a challenge, especially when faced with societal pressure to consume more and accumulate more possessions. It's important to have a clear vision of why you've chosen to embrace minimalism and intentionally live, and to focus on the benefits it brings to your life. In conclusion, incorporating minimalism and intentional living into your life can be a transformative experience. By starting small, decluttering your physical space, reflecting on your values, being mindful of your consumption, and creating routines and habits that support your goals, you can create a more intentional and fulfilling life. Just remember to avoid common mistakes, such as trying to do too much too soon, focusing too much on the external, and comparing yourself to others. Good luck on your journey.